All right, all right, all right. Yes, indeed. Let me get my stuff together. And we are live, you guys. You guys, we are live. We are live. We are live. We are live. Welcome back, you guys, to another episode of the Winner's Diet Show. I am your host, Project Mac. Um, Happy Hump Day, man. Happy Hump Day. I think I'm coming down with something. I don't know. My sinuses are acting funny a little bit. I think I'm coming down again with another sickness. So this is not a good sign. Like damn, I just got better a few weeks ago. Now I feel like my sinuses are acting up again, but damn, this is not good. But anyway, man, welcome back you guys to another episode of the Winner's Diet Show. Man, we got a good show lined up for you guys today. Today has been pretty decent. We got some things in the works, a couple things in the pipeline. So we're just trying to, dot all our, I's and cross all our T's. You know what I'm saying? But besides that, man, we are right on schedule. Coming live on this lovely Wednesday night. I hope you guys are having a good week. Shout out to everybody in here that's tapped in, that's supporting, that's just showing love, man. Big game this weekend. Niners are not playing, which I'm not happy about, but that's okay. The Seahawks, unfortunately, are back in the Super Bowl, um, as well as the Patriots. So that's a nice little rematch again. Even though I probably won't be watching the Super Bowl this year, just because, you know, I just don't care. The older I get, bro, the more I do not give a fuck about sports. And I'm a fan of sports. I love sports. You know, I love watching sports, but the older you get, the more responsibilities you have in life and the more things you have going on, bro, you just don't care about sports. At least not like I used to, you know. Still love sports, still love watching sports, but basketball has become unbearable to watch. I think I can speak for everybody. Basketball has just become unbearable to watch. I can't watch basketball, at least not a whole game anymore. It's just unwatchable, And then football, just this game this weekend, there's no star quarterbacks. There's really nobody in there that's exciting that unless you're a fan, um especially of that team, there's really nobody out there that sticks out and stands out. So it's just one of those things, man. Maybe I'm just getting older, but things are changing drastically. So it is what it is. The hell is that? But anyway, we got a good show lineup for you guys today. We might get out of here a little earlier than usual, but we got to give some game as well. Man, we got a great lineup today of content. We have our two segments. The first one is the Fit Report, reporting on fitness news, fitness things going on in the fitness industry. Goddamn, things going on in the fitness industry. And then we have What the Fitness, basically reacting to viral trendy videos in the fitness world, or reacting to fitness or winner's diet type content. And then we have the main event, you guys. The main event we're talking about, in order to get in shape, you have to be a psychopath. So I'll be breaking that down. Damn. Let me get some water. 1 second. Jesus Christ. Whew. I'll be breaking that down towards the end of today's show. So make sure you guys stick around. Shout out to everybody tuning in right now, tapping in. If you guys have any type of fitness questions, please make sure you guys get my free 7-day fat loss guide. If you guys are stuck, don't know where to start, don't know how to build muscle, lose fat, you guys can go to winnersdietclub.com and go ahead and get that. Okay. So, and If you guys have any fitness questions right now, please ask away in the chat before we get to it. What's going on? Raylan is bomb. What is up? Shout out to you for tapping in. As you guys can hear me, I'm a little under the weather. I feel like I'm getting sick. So this is not a good sign. I was just I had the worst flu a few weeks ago. Beginning of January, I had the worst flu. I was like out for like a week and a half, 2 weeks. That might have been the worst. That might have been the worst I've ever been sick. So, it's not fun knowing that you might get sick again. So, unfortunately, excuse me. God damn, man. This is a motherfucker. Anyway, let's get to it, man. We got a good show lined up for you guys today. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Please comment down below anything you guys want to see next. This is the Winner's Diet Show, the greatest fitness podcast or live stream on the face of the planet. We appreciate you guys showing love and support on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, whatever. Come through, say what's up, say hi. You know, trolls are welcome as well. We appreciate the trolls as well. But if you have any questions, please, man, please put it in the chat. We are answering fitness questions throughout the show as well. So give us that. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and just put it down below. All right. But without further ado, SJ, okay. Silly Paris Hostel. Don't know what that means, but what's up to you? Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the first article here. All right, here we go. This article says anyone who motivates you to work out, eat well, and improve yourself is someone you should never let go of. Their accountability in human form. Research on behavior change consistently shows that people are far more likely to stick to healthy habits when they're supported by someone who models discipline, encouragement, and consistency. Growth rarely happens in isolation. The people who raise your standards, challenges your excuses, and quietly push you towards a better version of yourself are the ones who deserve a permanent place in your life. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's very hard to find it's very hard to find whoa, what the hell happened? Whoa. Hold on. Are we back? Hold up, y'all. What's going on here? Uh-oh. Okay, there we go. Shit was tripping for a second. Damn. Anyway, it's very hard to find people who are solid people, man. You know, people out here that want to see you win, that want to grow with you. It's very difficult to find that because we live in a world where everybody is trying to just medicate themselves or numb themselves to what's going on, right? A lot of people don't like the way they're living. A lot of people are not happy with their situation in life. So you're going to find more people that are trying to escape life rather than run towards, their conflicts or their adversity, and that's just where we are right now. A lot of people don't realize, man, a lot of the blessings, a lot of your blessings, man, are on the other side of adversity. But you would not know that. Like, you wouldn't know that until you actually face whatever it is that you're facing. And I really want people to understand that, man, having good people in your corner can really make or break you as a person, you as someone that has goals. And it's just very important, man, that you keep good, solid people around you. And this is one of the pillars of the winner's diet, right? Not only is it what you eat, what you listen to, your habits, but it's who you hang around as well. Birds of a feather flock together. That is the truest statement, and you can't convince me otherwise. The people that you constantly associate with, right? The people that you're around most of the time, you guys usually share a common interest. Most of the time, you guys share things that connect you together. So, a lot of times that could be drinking, that could be gambling, that could be partying, that could be whatever. 9 times out of 10 is going to come in some form of sedation. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a form of sedation. And that's just American culture. That's just how we choose to live our life most of the time, you know? So if you have people that do the opposite of this, people that are always working out, people that are always eating correctly, eating clean, encouraging you to eat clean, encouraging you to work out, encouraging you to have healthier habits. These are the people that you want to be around, man. These are the folks you want to be around. Too many times we think the opposite is cool, right? At least I did growing up. Growing up, the guy that was in the house and not outside and, kind of just focused on himself, he was the loser. He was the outcast. No, the cool person, the 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 cool crowd were the ones that were always at the house parties. They were always the ones that were doing drugs after school. There was the ones that was always kicking it, not really getting much done out of life. But then you fast forward into adulthood, everything is in reverse now. The cool kids, right? The cool kids are now the losers. The ones that stayed inside and focused, these are the winners. These are the guys that are now, working towards becoming somebody, or if they're not already there. So life can really turn quick, man, and it just comes down to who you choose to associate with. That's it, man. Your life can really make or break due to the fact of the people that you choose to hang around. It's really that serious. It can go from 0 to 100 really quick. The connections, you just meeting the right person could change everything. And not just from a monetary standpoint, but from a mentality standpoint. Like once you get someone to challenge the way you think, that is the biggest game changer, man. That is the biggest game changer. That's when everything makes sense. I had to get around people that not only pushed me physically, pushed me to do more financially, but they pushed me mentally. They pushed me mentally to think a certain way, right? To look at things not from just a narrow-minded view, right? And once you start doing this consistently, this is when the growth starts to happen. This is when everything that you were working towards starts to unfold. And that could be in any area, getting in shape, making money, business, doesn't matter. But it starts with you having a good team around you, which is why I always say if you don't have good people around you, you're better off being by yourself. Better off being by yourself. Because at least then you can kind of just make your decisions on your own rather than be influenced by bad people that have bad habits. Okay, Crime Watcher TV. He has a statement here. The scale hasn't moved in a few weeks. However, my body fat has decreased and my muscle mass continues to increase. It's a little discouraging when the weight isn't coming down or coming off. I work out every day. Um, bro, you're actually in a great position because you said your body fat has decreased and your muscle mass has increased. So right then and there tells me that whatever it is that you're doing is working, man. So don't focus. This is what people do, man. They focus too much on the scale. Stop focusing on the scale. Yes, I understand the scale is important. If your goal is weight loss, that is very important. But it is not the end all be all. Okay. I always say focus more on the body fat. If your body fat is decreasing and you're building muscle, man, you're in a great position. If you because it's very hard to do both at the same time, right? Losing body fat and building muscle at the same time, it's not impossible. It happens, but it's not as easy as people think it is. So the fact that you can do both, that's a win. That's a win to me. Now, when it comes to the body fat, right? I mean, not the body fat. When it comes to the scale, one, stop checking the scale every single day. I don't know if you are, but most people are, right? Stop checking the scale every single day. Check the scale one time every week at the same time. First thing in the morning. Okay? Cuz at that point you're going to have the most um accurate number. So try to do it when you first wake up in the morning, no food, no water, step on the scale, boom. That's going to be the most accurate number that you have. So that's one. And two, if the scale isn't moving after a couple weeks, I would suggest that you decrease your calories about 100 to 150 grams or calories, right? So if you're consuming about 2,000 calories per day, decrease it to 1,900 calories per day. Just making a small change like that can play a big difference. So I don't know if you are tracking your calories at all, but if you're not tracking your calories, you might want to start tracking your calories, and just make a slight adjustment in your intake per day, because that'll make a huge difference. So, but besides that, man, you're doing a good job, bro. Keep up the good work. If you need more help, like I said, you can go ahead, hit that link in my bio, man. Go ahead and get my free 7-day fat loss guide. The link is in my bio. So go ahead, tap in with that. But um, yeah, man, it's you're doing a good job. Just be consistent. You want to at least, I don't know how big you are. I don't know your measurements. I don't know, I don't have all the information. But if you're on the heavier side, I would suggest that you aim for about half a pound to 1 pound per week. That should be your goal. So at least 3 to 4 pounds a month is what you should be aiming for as far as weight loss. But I wouldn't put too much stock into um, the scale. I would put more focus on losing body fat, which you are. So that's good. All right, let's move on to the next article here. Shout out to everybody in here. Please hit that like button, you guys, if you guys are enjoying the show so far. I hope that helps, man. I hope that helps. I don't track my calories. I do have a scale. I'll start, and I'm a woman. Oh, I'm sorry, sweetheart. My bad. My bad. I get a lot of men in here, so forgive me. Yeah, I get a lot of men in here, so it's only right that I assume you're a man. But yeah, I would start tracking my calories. Absolutely. And my fat loss guide breaks down how to track your calories. So make sure you go ahead and tap in with that. Hit that link in my bio. It shows you everything when it comes to that. All right. All right. Let's move on to the next article here. We got here. Please hit that like button if you're watching, tapping in. All right, here we go. This is another one for you weight loss goers out there. This one says, hit me with the harshest reality truth. And it says, after you lose the weight, you have to keep doing the same healthy things forever to keep it off. That is 100% facts. Okay. I don't know why my screen keeps doing this. But yes, that is one thing that you guys have to realize, man. Just because you lose the weight, just because you get to your goal, kudos to you, great, amazing, but it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there. No, if you want to keep your body looking the way it is, if you want to keep your goals the way it is and then some, well, you got to keep the same routine that you were doing. You can't just stop now that you're seeing results and then in a few months or a few weeks you're back where you started at. So this is one thing that a lot of people mess up with, man. They get way too excited when they start to see results, right? Especially when if it's a goal they've been doing or they've been reaching for some time, you know, if that's 5, 10, 15 pounds, they reach their goal, they get happy, they get excited, and then they get too comfortable. They get way too comfortable. They start slacking off, they start eating out more, they stop tracking their calories, you know, and they just get too relaxed, and that's how you relapse. That's how you get back in that cycle. I talked about that cycle a couple weeks ago, right? How most people are always in a cycle of trying to get in shape, trying to get ready. When in reality, all you got to do is just have a system to stay ready. That's all it is. If you had a system, there'd be no need to get ready. Me, I stay lean year round because I have a system in place. I don't get fat during the holidays. I don't get fat because it's winter time. You know, I just have a system, and the system is I don't overconsume. You know, I have self control. I know my limits. I eat in moderation, at least the things that I know that I really like to eat, as far as like sweets and junk food and things like that. I have that in moderation every so often, every so, right? But if you start to see results and you get happy, you get comfortable, you start to feel yourself a little bit. You start thinking you look good, and I can take a day off, I can take a week off, I can take 2 weeks off. That adds up, man. If you do it, if you do that long enough, it's gonna add up. It's gonna add up, and eventually you're gonna be back to where you started from. And now you got to get back in that cycle. That's how it starts, man. I want you guys to avoid that cycle. Avoid that cycle of I got to get back in shape. Now, look, things happen. You know, people gain weight here and there. But I'm always like, when I talk about gaining weight, I'm talking about gaining massive amounts of weight. 15, 20 pounds. That's a lot of weight. You know what I mean? Like 10 pounds is a lot of weight. If it's all, from bullshit. So I want you guys to avoid being in that cycle. That is the cycle that most people get into, man. It's not healthy. It's not a sustainable way to live your life. You don't want to be in that cycle all the time. You know, I might be in a situation where I'm like, yeah, man, I don't really I need to tone down a little bit. I might be losing some definition here and there. Okay, we can fix that up. It's not going to take that long. You know, it might take 4 to 6 weeks. That's nothing. But for some of you guys, it's going to take 4 to 6 months. And that's what we don't want to be in. So you guys have to be very careful and be very smart, man, of when you start to look at the results that you're getting, man, you got to double down on those results. You either you double down, excuse me, either you double down or you find a way to kind of just maintain where it's not balanced to the point where you're eating clean 3 days a week and then eating bad 4 days a week. That's some bullshit. I'm talking about you're still having your base, Your foundation is still there, right? High protein meals, eating in moderation, but every now and then you can have the foods that you love to eat. Every now and then you can have desserts. Every now and then you can have, one or two drinks of alcohol. Like, but the foundation never leaves. The problem is people leave the foundation, right? They disregard the foundation that got them those results, and now they're back to square one. Never ever leave your foundation. Even when you're seeing results, even when you're seeing your body change for the best, never get comfortable. Never leave your foundation. Your foundation is going to be a lifelong thing. It should never change. It should never change, at least not for a long period of time. You might go on vacation for a week or two. Okay. We understand that. But that's here and there, right? That's not every day. Your foundation has to be solid. This is a lifelong thing. If you want to stay in shape, if you want to stay lean, if you want to have a decent, body fat to mass to muscle mass ratio, you gotta have your foundation together. Gotta have it. That is a non-negotiable, by the way. All right. That I think we got one more article here before we get to the what the fitness segment. Shout out to everybody in here. If you guys are liking the show, please comment down below anything you guys want to see next. We appreciate um all the chats, man. The chats are going great. We appreciate you guys. Even the trolls, even you fucking trolls out there, we appreciate you as well. But if you guys have any more questions, please hit that link or comment down below, and I'll answer it when I'm done with this segment. All right, let's move on to the next segment while we're here. Where are we at? Okay, here we go. This one says, to survive emotional stress, you must intentionally place your body under physical stress. It sounds like a paradox, but the most effective way to silence a chaotic mind is to intentionally stress your body. This is known as cross stressor adaptation theory. Here's the science behind it. Your nervous system struggles to distinguish between the panic of a looming deadline and the physical strain of a hard run. When you voluntarily spike your heart rate through exercise, you are essentially stimulating a crisis in a controlled environment. You expose your body to the physiological symptom of anxiety, like a pounding chest and heavy breathing, and then you show your brain that you are safe. Over time, your biological response system learns to dampen its reaction to stress. You are literally training your physiology to remain calm under pressure. Research shows that just 3 to 5 sessions of moderate movement a week can break the loop of repetitive negative thinking. You are not just building muscle, you are building an internal shield of peace. Start today. Okay. But what are they going to do? They're going to tell you to go ahead and medicate yourself. They're going to tell you to go ahead and, hop on some prescription pills, just everything that is goofy, everything that is the opposite of what exercise can do. I tell y'all this all the time, man. Exercise is the biggest antidepressant. Exercise is the best therapy. You're not going to find anything better than exercise. I'll wait. Someone tell me another thing that is better than exercise when it comes to stress, mental health, peace. There is nothing else that can beat exercise. Nothing. And this is like, we've been saying this forever. Everybody wants to do the opposite of workout. And I get it. No one wants to put their body through hell. I get it. It hurts to work. Yeah, we heard all that. But y'all are just soft, man. Y'all are just soft. That's all it comes down to. Y'all are just soft. Escapism makes you soft. Escapism makes you weak. You trying to distract yourself from the problem is a weak mindset, right? The ones that are really strong and the ones that overcome adversity, the ones that make it to that next level in their journey in their life, they take adversity head on and they have healthy habits to manage adversity, to manage stress, right? And that's exercise every single time. Exercise, running, weightlifting, walking, whatever the case is, moving your body. I don't want to hear about how you're depressed. I really don't want to hear about how you're depressed, but you haven't worked out all week. I don't want to hear that shit. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear about how you have bad mental health, but then you haven't lifted no weights, you haven't ran, haven't moved your body. You've been in that damn bed all day on TikTok, Instagram, scrolling. I don't want to hear about your mental health if you haven't done these things. I don't want to hear about it. You know, you contribute to your mental health. You choose to stay depressed. You choose to stay in the situation that you're in. I get it. Everybody goes through, things. Everybody goes through bad shit in life. But how you respond to it tells me everything I need to know about you. Most people, they just lay down, you know, let it happen. If it happens, it happens. If it goes away, I hope it goes away. And that's, to me, that's the biggest problem. Most people hope. They use hope as a strategy. Shout out to CGA. You know what I'm saying? Like, you cannot use hope as a strategy. That is not a winning strategy. I hope I get in shape. Well, I hope I make money. I hope I become successful. Like, this is just a loser strategy. Only losers think this way. No, what's the plan? What is your plan? What is your system? Like, what do you have in place so this doesn't happen? What do you have in place so you can go and reach your goals? What is it? If it's just hope and wishing and wondering if, when, maybe, that's a loser strategy, man. It doesn't work. You're just throwing shit out the wall, hoping it sticks. That doesn't work. That's not a winning strategy. Nobody that ever had a goal, that executed that goal, that reached that goal, ever got there by just hoping they got there. Nobody that wanted to lose weight lost the weight by hoping they lost the weight. No, they went to the fucking gym and they put the work in and they lost the weight. Nobody that wanted to make money hoped they made money. No, they worked on their business, they worked on their craft, they were consistent, and they got rich. They didn't hope money fell out of the fucking sky. They didn't hope, they found a bag of money on the ground. No, they just worked their ass off for it, man. And that applies to any situation. Nobody hopes out here. There's always plans. There's always 10, 15, 20, 30-year plans. You think these people that are at, Wall Street and these Fortune 500 CEOs, investors, you think they just got there by hoping? You think they got there by wishing they were CEOs and up nine figures? I'm pretty sure they didn't hope they got there. I'm pretty sure they had plans in place. I'm pretty sure they had systems and strategies. I'm pretty sure they were thinking about some shit. So, but your goofy ass is telling me that you hope you can lose the damn weight. Your goofy ass is telling me you hope you can get in shape. You're telling me you hope you can stop being depressed. But there's no plan. It's a losing strategy, man. And this is the winner's diet. We don't lose here. We don't plan on losing here. We don't want anybody to lose here. But I know a way that you will guarantee to lose, and that's hoping some shit happens. There's not much in this world that I can guarantee. There's not much in this world that I can tell you that is 100% going to happen besides death and taxes. But one thing I know that is a guaranteed loss that you will guarantee lose out here is fucking hoping, is using that as your fucking strategy. If you hope something happens, that's a guarantee you will lose. Not even 9 times out of 10. I don't even give you a chance. But that's a guarantee you will lose. So yeah, man, you gotta remain disciplined. You gotta remain calm under stress, man. It plays a big role. Plays a huge role, actually. All right, man. We got that is it for the fit report. Let's move on to what the fitness. So shout out to everybody. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. All right. What do we have here? Let's get to the first video. Okay. This guy here says, let me refresh the video real quick. This guy here says we are in a protein epidemic. All right, let's take a look at what he says.
Guys, we're in a protein epidemic. This shit is getting out of hand. So let me give you a step-by-step guide to walk through the grocery store and not get fooled by these fucking companies. I don't know if you guys have seen this at your nearest grocery store that you frequent, but we have another casualty.
Oh, I think I showed this last week. Oh, that's my fault. That's my fault. Yeah, I showed this last week. Whoops. My bad. My bad. Let's show a different video. My bad, guys. All right, here we go. We got a guy here that says, please, what is he saying on the thing? Please don't talk to me. I only have, what is that? I only have an hour to work out and I love training. Yeah, man. This is one of those things where yeah. The gym is a great place to meet new people. Yeah. Absolutely. And here's the thing, man. If you go to the gym where you know a lot of people, it's very hard to get a workout in, especially if you're cool with everybody. This is why I really don't like working out at gyms where I know a lot of people, and just because people tend to chat your ear off and things like that. So I try to go to gyms that I don't really know anybody like that, because I need to get in and get out. I don't have time to really be chatting and talking to people. And I always say how the gym is a great place to network, but sometimes when you need to get your workout in, you need to get in and get out. So I don't really have time to be having conversations. I don't have time to be, you telling me about your day and how you got a new dog and shit like that. I don't got time for all that, man. So yeah, if you're like a popular person at your gym, I would suggest you go to a gym where it's lower key. You don't know nobody, you can get in, get out, or shit, be like the old dude and just have a sign on your back saying, I don't got time to be talking. I got an hour. Yeah, you did. I like the legendary Pop-Tarts. Have you tried them? Nah, I have not tried them. I haven't tried too many protein snacks. I do like the Quest chips though. The Quest chips are very good. I like the legendary protein bars. I've had that before, but I haven't had the Pop-Tarts. No. I don't think I've had the Pop-Tarts. Have I had the Pop-Tarts? No, I don't think I have had the part. I had the protein bars and I had the donuts. I had the donuts. I actually had the donuts last week. That was very good. But you know, we are in a protein epidemic. I will say that. It is what it is. But hey, I'd rather see protein than not see protein. So I'm all for the protein. I've said this numerous times. I'm all for the protein craze. I'm all for the protein coffees and a lot of these fast food places, rolling out um, protein bowls. Like I think Chipotle has like a new protein style bowl. I think Shake Shack has a protein style burger now. So I'm all for the protein shit, man. I'm all for it. I'm not gonna sit here and criticize, because we already are fat enough. Like we're all fat asses out here, and it's only gonna get worse. So you might as well give us some more protein to, you know, get our protein up. It is what it is. All right, let's move on to the next video here in What the Fitness. What do we have here? What do we have here? All right, we have here Miss Christina Mackey, a fitness influencer here. And this is one of those things, guys, where I always say that how bad do you really want to be in shape? Because everything is not always going to be convenient. Everything is not always going to be in your favor. And sometimes you might have to be eating out of a can of tuna like she is right here. So let's take a look.
Sometimes you got to whip it out of the container.
32 grams of protein.
Mid-shoot. Mid-shoot.
It's time for protein. It's 120.
This is the kind of discipline a body like this takes.
3 eggs this morning. Okay. 32 grams right now. I got another can for the drive home. Sometimes you got to keep it simple. You don't always have to go in and have this crazy dope meal. You just need to be getting your protein.
60% of it is not pretty, right?
Honestly, I'd say about 70% of it's not pretty.
It's not pretty.
But how else I'm going to look like this? Look at them legs. Come on now.
Talk your shit. Talk your shit. Okay.
That's a fact, man. Look, that's a fact. I completely agree with her. And this is mainly for people that are trying to get in shape, man. It's not going to be pretty most of the time. Now, most of the time, man, like I said, if you really want it bad enough, you're going to be eating out of Tupperware. The food might be cold. It's not going to be flavorful. It's just not going to be sexy, man. And that's kind of how it needs to be sometimes, because that creates the discipline. That creates the consistency. You don't have to have a crazy meal every time you want to eat something. Sometimes it just comes down to you having a can of tuna, a can of chicken, something quick. So you have to prioritize protein, especially on a fitness journey. That is the number one thing that you have to do. Always, 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 always prioritize protein. If you can't get a full meal in, if you can't get a full macro heavy meal in with your protein, carbs, and greens, whatever, then I would suggest at least eat some protein. At least have something where it's high in protein. That can of tuna is about, I want to say anywhere from 20 to 30 grams of protein in one can. And she said she has another one in the car for the ride home. So this is what it takes, man. How bad do you want to get in shape? How bad do you want to get in shape? It's not always going to be in your favor. It's not always going to be in your favor, but the results are going to show. The results are going to be there when the cameras are off, So if you're not someone that wants to be uncomfortable in this situation where I don't want to eat out of a can of tuna, I don't want to eat cold food out of Tupperware, all right, don't do it then. But don't complain. Don't complain when you don't get the results that you want. Don't complain because you didn't have the discipline to do things that were uncomfortable. There's a lot of things I don't want to do, but I do it anyway because I want the results from that thing. And it's sometimes it's not sexy, it's not convenient, it's not ideal, but I do it anyway because that's how bad I want the results. If you don't want to do this, then some of y'all don't want the results bad enough. And that's okay. That's fine. Just don't complain. Just don't complain when you're here saying, "Oh, the scale ain't moving," and I'm not saying this is you, crime watcher, but you're complaining how the scale ain't moving and your clothes ain't fitting right. All right, cool. You chose not to do the hard stuff. That's fine. But just don't complain when you don't get the results that you want because you didn't do things that needed to be done in that moment. And that's all discipline is, man. That's all discipline is. All right. Perfect. I think we got one more here, man. Trying to figure out if we have one more video here. Make sure y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, please, and thank you. You know what? Let's get to the main event, man. Let's get to the main event. I gotta get up out of here pretty soon. Let's get to the main event, man. This is the perfect segue. Shout out to everybody in here. The main event, man. Let's get to it. So today, you guys, we are talking about how in order to get in shape, you have to be a psychopath. And I know this sounds a little extreme. I know this sounds, a bit much, but when it comes to getting in shape, man, you have to kind of be very self-centered. It's almost narcissistic to a certain degree. And narcissism isn't bad, by the way. I know people try to paint people being narcissistic as something that's bad, right? But you should have a level of respect and love for yourself to the point where you truly believe in yourself that you can accomplish and do anything, and that's, to me, that's all narcissism is. But when it comes to like treating people bad because of it, okay, that's where it's not good. But if you're not hurting nobody because of it, I don't see a problem in being narcissistic, but yeah, in order to be in shape, man, you have to be somewhat level of crazy, bro, because it's going to be very like I said, when it comes to the Christina Mackey thing, you're going to have to do things that you don't want to do consistently. And this might be for a month, 2 months, 3 months, and so on and so forth. There's going to be a lot of times where you don't want to be in that damn gym, but you got to go anyway. There's going to be times where you have a crazy day, a crazy schedule, and you told yourself, man, I got to go to the gym at some point, to the point where you might have to miss out on an event, miss out on hanging out with friends, miss out on this just because you need to go and hit that damn gym. That is a level of crazy. That is a level of you being somewhat narcissistic, right? And if you continue to do that, miss events and put off hanging out with friends and just prioritize the gym by by any circumstance, right? And do that consistently, that is kind of that's kind of getting into that range of being a psychopath. And that's good because they call gym people psychopaths all the time. How do you work out 5-6 days a week? You're a psychopath. You're crazy. That's why I'm in great shape. That's why I look the way I look, because I have that level of being a psychopath. I have to. If I want to be in this state of mind, is it healthy? Maybe. Putting your body through all this trauma and shit is not always the healthiest, but I mean, you look good, you feel better, but long term, your body might slow down a little bit as far as you doing the crazy shit that you're doing, but that's why you adjust. But if you want to get to that level of the body that you want, man, you have to be somewhat of a psychopath, and really fitness is really about prioritizing yourself over everything, even when it's convenient for other people, even when it's inconvenient for you. which is kind of a conundrum, but sometimes that's kind of how it is. And and once you start doing this, man, you're gonna start to realize that people are gonna start to look at you differently. They might start calling you selfish. They might start calling you self-centered. Um, they might start saying, "Oh, all you think about is yourself in the gym. You don't care about nobody else." And sometimes that could be true. That could be true sometimes, but um, you're not doing it for not only yourself. You're really doing it for the outcome, and that's what a lot of people don't realize. Yes, you're prioritizing yourself, but at the same time, you're not only doing it for yourself. You're doing it for the outcome, and sometimes the outcome it requires you to take great great lengths. It requires um desperate times causes for desperate measures. So you have to do sometimes extreme things to get the outcome. And where you might get that narcissistic psychopath take, right, or label, that might come from you not you might stop people pleasing. If you're someone that's a people pleaser and you start to prioritize yourself, you might get that narcissistic label. You might get that psychopath label, because you stop doing what everybody else wants you to do. And then you're going to start protecting your schedule. People ask you to hang out. You know what? Hey, man, I got to be at the gym at this time. I got to do the sauna at this time. I don't know where this fits in my schedule. They're going to say, oh, man, he's Hollywood now, or all he does is the gym. He's boring, and this is kind of what comes with you kind of prioritizing yourself, man. But again, it's not about you, it's about the outcome most of the time. And for people that don't have discipline, this is going to be very odd. It's going to be very strange, right? They're just not going to get it. And that's why I say, man, sometimes that requires you to have a new circle, because they're just not going to understand the new you. And sometimes that's okay, man. Sometimes that's okay. Sometimes it's needed. Sometimes that is what growth requires, you to have a new circle. You to have a new tribe. And um sometimes that tribe can be in the gym, with the same people, having the same goals as you. And that's totally fine. Not saying cut off all your old friends. I'm not saying that, but at the same time, it doesn't hurt to be around new people that have similar interests that you have in that situation. You know, so it is what it is, man. Sometimes fitness, it demands you to be ruthless, man, because it's a very demanding uh it's a very demanding action getting in shape. It requires so much out of you. It requires you to eat clean, train consistently, sleep, drink your water, prioritize the right food. So it's very demanding, not only for your mental but your physical as well. And you see bodybuilders all the time, man. Like, they be going through hell because of the demand that it takes for them to, get ready for the show, get show ready. It takes a lot out of them. And that's what it takes, man. Like, I had a friend, my boy Dami. He um he was a he's a bodybuilder, right? So I think one time he was getting ready for a show, and it fell during Thanksgiving, right? So he didn't even eat the Thanksgiving food. If he did eat it, he was just eating turkey and the greens, and his family was looking at him crazy. Like, what are you doing? Like, why aren't you just eating the food? He's like, bro, I got a show in 2 weeks. I can't be eating this shit. That's what it takes. Sometimes that is what it takes, and others won't get it. Others won't understand it. They don't want to understand it, and it's not for them to understand. So it requires a lot of discipline. It requires you to really block out a lot of what other people will say about you in that situation. You know, how you're boring and you have no life. All you do is go to the gym. You're gonna hear a lot, man. So just be prepared for it. Don't let that distract you from your goal. But you have to be a psychopath, man. You have to be very focused, self-focused on the outcome, because in that sense, that's all that matters. So, all right, man. That might be it for today. Appreciate you guys for tapping in, man. Um, man, great show. I'm a little sick, so I couldn't do the full hour today. But man, we had a great show today. I'm I think we'll be back on Friday around 11 o'clock. I think 11 a.m. on Friday morning. So make sure you guys stick around for that. Follow us on socials, Winners Diet Club, on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, my personal page, Project Mac on Instagram. Make sure you guys go ahead and get that my free 7-day fat loss guide. Link is in my bio. If you guys are wondering how to lose body fat, build muscle, we break everything down in there. And that should be it, man. You guys have a great rest of your night. We appreciate you. We'll see you guys soon.